What happens when two of comedy's biggest stars decide to pull the ultimate prank on one of the most popular streamers in the world? What you're about to hear is the wild, unbelievable story of how Kevin Hart and Druski orchestrated the most elaborate streaming prank of all time, targeting none other than Cenat himself. This isn't just another celebrity collaboration story. This is the tale of how three entertainment powerhouses came together to create a moment so legendary that it literally broke the internet and had millions of viewers questioning what was real and what wasn't. The story begins 3 months before the actual prank went down. Kevin Hart, sitting in his home office in Calabasas, was scrolling through his phone when he stumbled across one of Cenat's streams. Now Kevin had heard about this young streamer who was taking the world by storm, but he'd never actually watched him in action. What he saw that night changed everything. Kai was in the middle of one of his legendary 24-hour marathon streams, and his energy was absolutely infectious. The chat was moving so fast it looked like digital rain, and Kai was somehow managing to engage with thousands of viewers simultaneously while playing games, reacting to videos, and telling stories that had everyone in stitches. Kevin found himself watching for hours, genuinely entertained by this kid's natural charisma and comedic timing. But more than that, he was impressed by Kai's authenticity. In an industry full of manufactured personalities, here was someone who was genuinely being himself, and millions of people were connecting with that realness. Kevin started thinking about his own journey in comedy, how he'd built his career on being relatable and authentic, and he saw something special in Kai that reminded him of his younger self. The next morning, Kevin called his longtime friend and fellow comedian Druski. Now, if you know anything about Druski, you know this man lives and breathes internet culture. He's the king of skits, the master of viral moments, and someone who understands the digital landscape better than almost anyone in the entertainment industry. When Kevin told him about discovering Cenat, Druski just laughed. "Bro, where have you been?" Druski said through the phone. "Kai's been running the streaming game for years now. That kid is a genius when it comes to content creation. I've been watching him since he had like 50,000 followers. He's the real deal." This conversation sparked something in both comedians. They started talking about the evolution of entertainment, how streaming had become the new frontier, and how the traditional boundaries between different forms of media were dissolving. Kevin, who had conquered movies, stand-up, and television, was fascinated by this new world, where entertainers could have direct, real-time connections with their audiences. Druski, who had built his entire career on understanding and leveraging internet culture, saw an opportunity to create something unprecedented. That's when the idea first emerged. What if they could surprise Kai with something so unexpected, so elaborate, that it would create a moment of pure, genuine shock and entertainment? Not just for Kai, but for his massive audience and the broader internet community. They weren't looking to embarrass or harm anyone. Instead, they wanted to create a moment of joy, surprise, and comedy that would bring people together and showcase the collaborative spirit that makes the entertainment industry so special. The planning phase began immediately. Kevin and Druski started studying Kai's streaming patterns, his schedule, his favorite topics of conversation, and even his streaming setup. They needed to understand every detail if they were going to pull off something truly spectacular. They discovered that Kai had a relatively predictable streaming schedule, usually going live in the late afternoon or early evening. They also learned about his close relationships with other streamers and content creators, his love for music, his passion for gaming, and his incredible ability to turn even the most mundane activities into entertaining content. But here's where the story gets really interesting. Kevin and Druski didn't want to just show up on stream and surprise Kai. That would be cool, but it wouldn't be legendary. They wanted to create an entire experience, a narrative that would unfold over the course of several hours and keep viewers on the edge of their seats. They started brainstorming elaborate scenarios, each one more outrageous than the last. Druski suggested they could pretend to be delivery drivers and show up at Kai's door with increasingly ridiculous packages. Kevin thought they could stage a fake emergency situation that would require Kai's help. They considered hiring actors to create a flash mob outside his streaming location. Every idea was more elaborate than the last, but nothing felt quite right. They needed something that would be surprising but not disruptive, entertaining but not harmful, and most importantly, something that would showcase all three of their personalities and talents. Then Kevin had the breakthrough moment. He was at his son's basketball game watching the kids play when he noticed how much joy the simple act of surprise brought to everyone involved. When one team executed an unexpected play, or when a parent surprised their child by showing up unexpectedly, the genuine reactions were priceless. That's when it hit him. The best pranks aren't about elaborate setups or expensive props. They're about genuine human connections and unexpected moments of joy. He immediately called Druski with the new concept. Instead of trying to create some elaborate fictional scenario, they would focus on the genuine surprise of two major celebrities showing up in Kai's world unannounced. But they would layer it with multiple surprises, creating a series of reveals that would build excitement and keep everyone guessing about what would happen next. The plan they developed was beautifully simple, yet incredibly sophisticated. They would start by having Druski call into Kai's stream as a regular viewer, using a fake name and voice modifier. He would act like a typical fan, asking questions and making comments that would blend in with the thousands of other viewers. Meanwhile, Kevin would be getting into position outside Kai's streaming location, ready to make his surprise appearance. But here's the genius part. They didn't stop there. They coordinated with several other content creators and celebrities to create a chain reaction of surprises. Each reveal would lead to another surprise, creating a domino effect that would keep building throughout the entire stream. They also planned to incorporate elements that would directly engage Kai's audience, making the viewers feel like they were part of the experience rather than just passive observers. The night of the prank finally arrived, and the energy was electric. Kevin was practically vibrating with excitement as he sat in his car outside the building where Kai streams. He had his phone connected to Kai's stream, watching along with hundreds of thousands of other viewers. Druski was at his own setup, ready to make the first move. They had rehearsed the timing dozens of times, but they both knew that once things started, they would need to improvise and adapt based on Kai's reactions. Kai started his stream like any other night, greeting his audience with his signature energy and enthusiasm. He was talking about his plans for the evening, maybe playing some games, reacting to some videos, and just hanging out with his community. The chat was its usual chaotic self, with viewers sharing jokes, asking questions, and showing love for their favorite streamer. Everything seemed completely normal. About 30 minutes into the stream, Druski made his move. Using his fake persona, he called into the stream with a question about gaming setups. His voice was disguised enough that even Kai didn't recognize him immediately, but Druski's natural comedic timing was still there. He started making jokes and comments that were just a little too funny, a little too perfectly timed, to be from a random viewer. Kai, who has incredible instincts when it comes to reading his audience, started to pick up on something. He began responding to this mysterious caller more than usual, and the chat started to notice that something was different. Some viewers began speculating that this wasn't just a regular fan, but Kai himself seemed genuinely puzzled by the situation. Meanwhile, Kevin was making his way into the building, his heart pounding with anticipation. He had coordinated with Kai's team to make sure he could get access without spoiling the surprise, but he was still nervous about the timing. Everything had to be perfect for the prank to work the way they had envisioned. As Druski continued his performance as the mysterious caller, he started dropping subtle hints about his true identity. He made references to comedy sketches, used phrases that were distinctly his own, and even mimicked some of his famous characters. The chat was going absolutely wild, with viewers starting to piece together clues and speculate about who this could be. Kai was completely absorbed in trying to figure out what was happening. His natural curiosity and love for interactive content made him the perfect target for this type of elaborate surprise. He started asking the caller more direct questions, trying to get him to reveal more about himself. The tension was building beautifully, with viewers on the edge of their seats wondering when the big reveal would happen. That's when Kevin made his entrance. He had positioned himself just outside the camera's view, waiting for the perfect moment to appear. As Kai was focused on his conversation with the mysterious caller, Kevin slowly stepped into frame behind him. The reaction from the chat was instantaneous and explosive. Viewers started spamming messages about Kevin Hart being on stream, but Kai was so focused on the phone call that he hadn't noticed yet. For several agonizing and hilarious minutes, Kevin stood there making faces at the camera, while Kai remained completely oblivious. The chat was losing their minds, torn between wanting to tell Kai what was happening and wanting to see how long it would take him to notice. Kevin was trying not to laugh out loud and give himself away, which only made the situation more entertaining. Finally, Kai turned around to grab his water bottle and came face to face with Kevin Hart. The scream that came out of Kai's mouth was so loud and genuine that it became an instant meme. He literally jumped out of his chair, knocking over his drink and sending his headset flying. The pure shock and disbelief on his face was priceless, and Kevin couldn't contain his laughter any longer. But the surprises weren't over. As Kai was still processing the fact that Kevin Hart was standing in his streaming room, Druski revealed his true identity on the phone call. He dropped the voice modifier and started speaking in his normal voice, explaining that he had been the mysterious caller all along. Kai's reaction was another wave of shock and excitement as he realized that two of his comedy heroes had coordinated this elaborate surprise just for him. The energy in the stream reached incredible heights as Kevin and Druski began interacting with Kai and his audience. Kevin, who was experiencing live streaming from this perspective for the first time, was amazed by the real-time interaction with viewers. He started reading chat messages and responding to questions, bringing his natural charisma and humor to this new format. Druski, meanwhile, was in his element. He understood the streaming culture perfectly and began creating impromptu skits and bits that had the entire audience in stitches. He started impersonating other streamers, making up fake sponsorship deals, and creating ridiculous scenarios that played off Kai's reactions. What made this moment truly special wasn't just the surprise itself, but how all three entertainers fed off each other's energy. Kai, who was still processing what was happening, began to relax and embrace the chaos. His natural ability to adapt and entertain came through as he started facilitating interactions between Kevin and Druski, creating a three-way comedy dynamic that was pure magic. The stream continued for hours, with the three of them creating content that felt completely spontaneous yet incredibly polished. They played games together, with Kevin struggling to understand some of the modern gaming references, while Druski provided hilarious commentary. They reacted to videos from Kai's usual content rotation, but now with the added perspective of Kevin's Hollywood experience and Druski's internet culture expertise. One of the most memorable moments came when they decided to do impromptu impressions of each other. Kevin attempted to mimic Kai's streaming style, complete with his signature phrases and energy level. The result was hilarious, as Kevin's more traditional comedy background clashed beautifully with Kai's Gen Z streaming approach. Druski then did his impression of Kevin doing an impression of Kai, creating a comedy inception that had everyone laughing until their sides hurt. Kai retaliated by doing his version of Kevin Hart stand-up, incorporating streaming terminology and internet slang into classic Kevin Hart bits. Then he attempted to recreate some of Druski's most famous skits, but with his own streaming twist. The result was a masterclass in different generations and styles of comedy, coming together to create something entirely new. But perhaps the most touching moment came when they started talking about their respective journeys in entertainment. Kevin shared stories about his early days doing stand-up in small clubs, the rejection he faced, and how he built his career through persistence and authenticity. Druski talked about starting on social media, creating content with no budget, and learning to understand what makes people laugh in the digital age. Kai opened up about his own path, from starting with a small following to building one of the most engaged communities on the internet. He talked about the responsibility he feels toward his audience and how he tries to create positive, entertaining content that brings people together. The conversation became surprisingly deep and meaningful, showing a side of all three entertainers that their audiences rarely get to see. This is where the emotional core of the story really emerges. What started as a simple prank had evolved into something much more significant. It became a celebration of different forms of entertainment, a bridge between traditional media and new digital platforms, and most importantly, a genuine moment of connection between three people who had built their careers on making others laugh. The chat response throughout this entire experience was unprecedented. Viewers were not just watching passively, they were actively participating in the creation of this moment. They were suggesting activities for the trio to do together, sharing their own stories about comedy and entertainment, and creating a community experience that extended far beyond the original stream. Social media exploded as clips from the stream began circulating on every platform imaginable. Twitter was flooded with reaction videos, TikTok creators were making their own versions of the surprise, and Instagram was filled with screenshots and quotes from the stream. The hashtag that emerged organically from the community reached trending status within hours. But the real magic happened when other celebrities and content creators began responding to the stream. Major figures from comedy, entertainment, and social media started sharing their reactions, creating a viral moment that extended far beyond the original prank. Some celebrities revealed that they had been watching the stream live. Others shared their own stories about surprise collaborations, and many expressed admiration for how the three entertainers had created something so genuine and entertaining. The stream eventually ended after nearly 6 hours, but the impact was just beginning. In the days that followed, analysis videos appeared breaking down every moment of the prank and its execution. Comedy experts discussed the different styles and approaches of the three entertainers. Social media strategists analyzed how the organic growth of the moment demonstrated the power of authentic content creation. Most importantly, the prank sparked conversations about the evolution of entertainment and how different generations of performers can learn from each other. Kevin Hart, who had built his career in traditional media, gained new appreciation for the skill and creativity required in live streaming. Druski, who understood both worlds, served as the perfect bridge between different entertainment formats. And Kai demonstrated how the new generation of content creators is pushing the boundaries of what entertainment can be. The long-term impact of this collaboration extended far beyond just the initial viral moment. It led to ongoing partnerships between the three entertainers, with Kevin making guest appearances on Kai's future streams and Druski collaborating with both of them on various projects. More significantly, it opened doors for other cross-generational collaborations in the entertainment industry. The prank also highlighted the unique power of live streaming as a medium for authentic, unscripted entertainment. Unlike traditional television or film, where every moment is carefully planned and edited, streaming allows for genuine reactions and real-time collaboration. The unpredictability and authenticity that emerged from this surprise couldn't have been replicated in any other format. Educational institutions began studying this collaboration as an example of successful cross-platform content creation. Marketing professionals analyzed how the organic growth and genuine reactions created more engagement than traditional advertising campaigns. The entertainment industry took note of how the collaboration demonstrated the potential for bridging different audience demographics and platform ecosystems. But beyond all the analysis and professional impact, the core appeal of this story remains the simple joy of watching people genuinely surprise and entertain each other. In an age where so much content feels manufactured and calculated, this moment stood out for its authenticity and spontaneity. It reminded viewers why they fell in love with entertainment in the first place, the ability to share genuine moments of joy and laughter with others. The technical execution of the prank also deserves recognition. The coordination required to pull off multiple surprises while maintaining secrecy was impressive. Kevin and Druski had to time their reveals perfectly, coordinate with Kai's team without spoiling the surprise, and adapt their plans based on real-time reactions. The fact that everything worked so smoothly was a testament to their professionalism and preparation. The aftermath of the stream also revealed interesting insights about audience behavior and engagement. Analytics showed that viewer retention during the surprise segments was significantly higher than typical streaming content. The real-time chat engagement reached levels that were unprecedented for collaborations of this type. Most importantly, the positive sentiment and community building that emerged from the experience demonstrated the power of bringing people together through shared entertainment experiences. As news of the collaboration spread beyond the immediate streaming community, it attracted mainstream media attention. Entertainment news outlets covered the story, interviewing industry experts about the significance of the cross-platform collaboration. Television shows featured clips from the stream, introducing streaming culture to audiences who might not have been familiar with it previously. The success of this prank also inspired other entertainers to explore similar collaborative opportunities. It demonstrated that authentic, spontaneous content could compete with highly produced traditional media in terms of engagement and impact. This led to a wave of cross-platform collaborations as entertainers from different backgrounds began working together to create unique content experiences. Here's what makes this story truly special and why it resonates with so many people. In a world where entertainment often feels divided between different platforms, demographics, and styles, this collaboration showed that great content transcends these boundaries. Kevin Hart's movie and stand-up audience, Druski's social media following, and Cenat's streaming community all came together to share a moment of genuine entertainment. The prank succeeded because it respected all three entertainers and their unique talents. Kevin brought his experience and professionalism, Druski contributed his understanding of internet culture and viral content creation, and Kai provided his streaming expertise and authentic connection with his audience. None of them had to sacrifice their individual style to participate in the collaboration. This is also a story about the evolution of celebrity and entertainment. Traditional concepts of fame and audience engagement are changing rapidly, and this collaboration demonstrated how entertainers who adapt and embrace new formats can create experiences that wouldn't have been possible in previous eras. The real-time interaction, the community participation, and the organic growth of the content represent a new model for entertainment that's more participatory and inclusive. If you're someone who creates content, whether it's streaming, social media, traditional media, or any other format, there are valuable lessons in this story. The most important takeaway is that authenticity and genuine connection always resonate with audiences, regardless of the platform or format. Kevin, Druski, and Kai succeeded because they were genuinely enjoying themselves and creating something they believed in. The planning and coordination that went into the prank also demonstrate the importance of preparation and professionalism, even when creating seemingly spontaneous content. The surprise worked because they had thought through every detail while still leaving room for genuine reactions and improvisation. The collaborative spirit that emerged from this experience shows the power of supporting other entertainers and creators rather than viewing them as competition. By working together and showcasing each other's talents, all three entertainers expanded their reach and created something more valuable than any of them could have achieved individually. The story continues to evolve as the impact of this collaboration ripples through the entertainment industry. New partnerships have emerged, streaming platforms have begun actively recruiting traditional entertainers, and the boundaries between different forms of media continue to blur in exciting new ways. For viewers and fans, this experience demonstrated the unique value of live, authentic content. In an age of carefully curated social media posts and heavily edited traditional media, the genuine reactions and real-time collaboration provided a refreshing alternative that felt more honest and engaging. The community that formed around this moment also shows the power of shared experiences in building connections between people. Viewers from different backgrounds, ages, and interests came together to enjoy and celebrate this collaboration, creating lasting connections that extended beyond the original stream. As we look toward the future of entertainment, this collaboration provides a blueprint for how different platforms, generations, and styles can work together to create something new and exciting. It's a reminder that the best entertainment comes from genuine human connections and shared moments of joy and laughter. The legacy of Kevin Hart and Druski's epic prank on Cenat isn't just about the viral moment or the entertainment value, though both were significant. It's about demonstrating that when talented people come together with genuine respect for each other and a shared commitment to creating something special, the results can exceed everyone's expectations and create lasting impact that extends far beyond the original experience. This story proves that the future of entertainment isn't about choosing between traditional media and new digital platforms, but about finding creative ways to bridge these worlds and create experiences that honor the best of both. When Kevin Hart's Hollywood experience met Druski's internet culture expertise and Cenat's streaming mastery, they created something that none of them could have achieved alone. The internet definitely couldn't stop laughing, but more than that, it couldn't stop talking about what this collaboration represented for the future of entertainment, the power of authentic content creation, and the joy that comes from watching talented people genuinely surprise and delight each other while sharing that experience with the world.